Blessed be my witches, my spiritualists, and welcome to another episode of Witch Please. It is I, Odin the Seer. And today we are going to be talking about something that is very important to me. Now, I'm going to not mince words or try and make it all happy. I'm not in the best of moods today. I'm a little emotional. And the reason for this is because the misunderstanding of unconditional love. People have created unconditional love as sort of a prison. Something that says that you can't get out of a situation because you need to love somebody and accept a person for who they are. And although there is truth to this, there is something that people are overlooking, and unfortunately, because they're overlooking this, they are giving the true essence of universal love a very wrong message, or it's being construed in a very wrong way. And that's very upsetting to me, because universal love is what we all have. It's what we're all given. It's what the divine gives us. Unconditional love is something that has been created by man and woman, by the human race, to almost try and hold someone in a certain place or a certain time. You see, people make mistakes in their lives, and people struggle and suffer with certain things, and that's perfectly fine, okay? Now, universal love means that you understand where they are at that point in time. You understand that this is a struggle for them. They're going through, but they're trying, okay? And you, at that point in time, have to be that person, or should at least be that person, to understand where the person is, what they're going through, and love them regardless, okay? Because they're trying. They may not be doing the best thing. They may not be, doing it in the way that you want it to be done, or you would like it to be done. Okay? But at least they're trying. If you take a look at God, what does God want from us? God wants for us to try. Okay? We know that we're not going to be perfect at it. We know that we're not going to be able to be perfect. Right? In the Bible it states that we are born to sin. Right? Many different structures talk about us being in a plane of existence where this is going to be a propensity. We can't really understand what love is at that point in time. So there becomes conditions on these loves. And that becomes a reality. But if somebody is trying, to better themselves and trying to put themselves out there and grow and evolve, this is what the divine asks of us. They ask us to do this. Now, when does this universal love, when does these conditions that we try and had to create this, this belief of unconditional love, when does this come into play, and how does this really mess with us? Okay? Because when we put conditions on love, it's natural. Okay? When we talk about unconditional love, we talk about something that is unnatural. We talk about something that is going to force someone to stay in a situation that they don't necessarily want to be in. Now, how do we deal with this? How do we handle this? When you have a child that has special needs or whatnot, do you just not love that child? Or do you realize that this child is trying their best? Right? They want to be able to overcome whatever it may be. And in some cases, people can't even deal with that, and they move away from that child, or they lock that child up in some sort of placement because they can't deal with it. Because their expectations on the love that they feel are not right. It's not right. Okay? But then again, what also isn't right is putting yourself in a situation where you're allowing yourself to struggle immensely. We've talked about expectation. We've talked about illusion. If an illusion tells you, this is not going to be right for me, I can't deal with this, where's universal love coming from this? Where are you being that being of God? When are you being in the image and likeness of God? How are you trying to facilitate an understanding, a deeper understanding of the spirit and the soul and how they work? If they're trying, you need to be there for them, and it's not necessarily going to be the easiest. If they don't want to get better, or they have given up trying, that's a different story. That's a decision that they've made. It's a path that they want to go on, and this does not mean that you need to stick yourself in that and stay in that situation and cause yourself pain. Any transformation is going to be difficult. That is just the way it is. Alright? If it wasn't difficult, then necessarily wouldn't be transformation. We know that there are two ways to grow in this world, through love and through pain. Love is an easy way of doing it. Pain is a difficult way of doing it. It's hard. They are both two sides of the same coin. What do I ask witches? What do I ask people around me? I don't ask them to wade through my difficulties with me. I ask them to respect where I was, honor and acknowledge the fact that I am trying. And again, I do the same thing for them. No one's perfect. And I hope that the Witch Please family member watching don't think that I am this wonderful, perfect being, because I'm not. I'm human. And I go through my ups and my downs just like everybody else. I have come from a horrendous place. I've seen darkness, but I've also seen light. And I try to apply everything that I teach in my day-to-day life. Even Maya Angelou said that she messes up all the time when it comes to practicing what she preaches. Now, I want to go back again to the unconditional love aspect. Yes, I use that word often. But what do I mean by unconditional love? What I mean by unconditional love is not buying into the illusion. Okay? Not buying into a certain status quo. Okay? Taking a look at your own demons, your own problems, your own limitation, your own biases, your own ignorance, your own bigotry. Take a look into that. Okay? Work through it, get past it. And then love that person outside of limits, illusions. Outside of bias and ignorance. Love them. Love them. This does not mean that you need to be disassociated with what's going on. But if a situation is out of somebody's control and they are trying their best to be able to get through it, to practice what they preach, these people we don't walk away from. These people we don't give up on. And the reason why we don't give up on these people is because of the fact that the moment you do, you are not taking into consideration, you are not being in the image and likeness of God. Okay? For those of you who follow the Christian faith, right? We need to understand that you can't walk away. When you walk away from when you abandon something or someone, right? You now have to realize that you were not being in the image and likeness of God. If they are trying, if they are working their butts off, and it may be a slow path, but they are trying, they deserve to have that support. If we were to take it from a different perspective and say a child was having a difficult time speaking, reading, writing, right? If the child had ADD, ADHD, if the child had Asperger's or autism or whatever have you. These children had this and they're trying. Would we want, as if that was your kid, would you want anybody to give up on your child if your child is trying? No, you wouldn't. You would want that child to get all the support that that child can get because the child is trying. Why don't we do that to our fellow man? Why is it that when we become an adult in a certain situation that we feel it's perfectly fine? Why are we so appalled at teachers giving up on children? Husbands giving up on wives, wives giving up on husbands, businesses giving up on each other, friends giving up on each other. Why are we appalled when it comes to things like, again, children? When that happens to children, we get appalled at that. But yet we do the same thing in our day-to-day lives, and we give up on other people, and we never think of the ramifications that it's going to have on that person that was given up on. Think about that. Again, people make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I've made mistakes. Absolutely. There's things in my world that I really wish I never had that experience, and I wish that I was a different person at that time. But things change and seasons changed. Why did that happen? Because there was people in my life that didn't give up on me. They didn't give up on me. There were people in my life that tried to break me down. There were people in my life that were so concerned with their own and having their needs met, and never wanted to give back the same thing that I was offering. It was almost like as if this was an obligation for me to be there for them. People have asked me, what is one of the hardest things that I do as a spiritualist? And I will tell you that the hardest thing that I do as a spiritualist, as a reverend, is seeing the amount of people who focus on their needs and their needs alone. Really have no care about anybody else's needs. And because of this, the damage and the ramifications that come with their actions. And again, I'm not telling the Witch Please family members here that, people don't make mistakes. But like Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better. And the thing about it is, when you break someone down for learning in certain situations, sometimes we have to go through a dark state. Sometimes we have to do something that is not in resonance with who we are. Right? But that is also a blessing, because it allows us to be able to really get a better understanding of who we are or who we want to be. It's very important for people to start understanding. And as I said, I use the word unconditional love often, but my idea of unconditional love is very different than most people. My idea of unconditional love is loving without illusion. Loving without illusion. When I think about mindfulness, right, my idea of mindfulness is being mindful of where that other person is. Be mindful of the limits that you're holding or the problems that you're putting on this person's shoulders. Be mindful of how your actions are affecting them. Right? And yeah, you may have made a mistake. You may have hurt them. But that's why pencils have erasers. We can fix it. We can fix it. Now sometimes people don't want to, and other times people don't want to let you fix it. Right? Because they have an illusion in their whole head now that they're holding on to. I'm very sad watching what goes on in this world. Watching how people can literally say, in one instance, be together and love each other, and another instance can allow bullshit, modern ideals be what governs or allows them or gives them warrant to be able to do something that is going to damage another person. If they're trying, look at everybody in the same way you would look at your child. If they are trying, don't give up on them. If they choose to not try, if they choose to continue to hurt you, right, and not hurt you by way of mistakes. Because again, you make mistakes in your life. You didn't want to hurt someone, but you did. I'm sure all of us have. But if they're trying, if the people are trying, you need to give them the exact same courtesy and universal